green is at 5, red at 6, and 7 is red.
Thank you, Margaret. Welcome, Joe Miller, Dad Man Scarf, for Joe Miller.
It was 11:30 in the morning on a Friday. There had been a fine drizzle of rain all morning long. Everything was wet. I was driving into Windermere. I'd never been there before, so I was taking it easy. Jan and Dane were singing Dead Man's Curve on the radio. I first knew I was in trouble. The road went like that, and I went straight through. I turned the steering wheel to get onto the shoulder. I pumped the brake to slow down. I downshifted, and nothing happened. Fellow Toastmasters and honored guest, I was driving a Pepsi truck. I was working for the franchise in Orillia. I was supposed to be starting university in the fall. Now on a Coke truck, you walk up, and you lift the door at the side of the truck, and you get your stuff. On our Pepsi trucks, you walked up, you pushed up the door, and you climbed up 4 feet to get it. On a Coke truck, the engine was in front of you like a car or pickup truck. On our trucks, we were sitting over top of the engine. It was a cab over. You see everything from up there. So here I was at 11:30 on a Friday morning, trying to get a truck back under control. And then it got worse. I started going down a hill. Halfway down the hill, there was one of those yellow signs of a truck tipping over. I didn't really want to do that, so I was downshifting, I was pumping the brake, and I was trying to steer to get onto the shoulder to slow down. By the time I hit that sign, I had no choice left. I slammed on the brake and hit the air horn 3 times. The back brakes locked and started screaming as I slid down the rest of the hill. There were 3 houses on the right-hand side. They all had grass out in front. I could see nothing was coming. But that was the least of my worries. Ahead of me. Have you ever seen those little round things, those stumps sticking up on the corners with the little wire that goes around? I was heading right for it. And I couldn't stop, and I couldn't get the car to steer, or the truck to steer. Somehow I missed the stumps and went right between 2 of them. I heard the wire as it hit the front bumper. And then I heard the ping, 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 ping as all the nails holding that wire went flying. I put my hand on the steering wheel, or on the door handle, thinking, this is a good time to jump. And I looked out the window to look for a soft spot to land. All I saw were those big, huge rocks, the kind that mash bones when you hit them, when you jump from a moving truck. I put my hands back on the steering wheel. I looked straight ahead. I wondered how much this was going to hurt. I wondered if my mother was going to be upset. I wondered if God took you in bits and pieces. And I waited for my life to pass before me. First, there was a loud bang. Then, there was a feeling of sudden, rapid movement. And then there was nothing. Just total silence. In a divine demonstration of perfect parallel parking, the slack had gone out of the cable, and like a slingshot or a rubber band, it snapped the truck back onto the road. I was sitting on the shoulder. The engine had stalled, so I just turned the key off. I climbed out of the truck. Unlike a James Bond martini, I was shaken and stirred. I walked around the front of the truck, and there was a mark on the front bumper from the wire. 2 ladies ran across the grass. One yelled that she had called the OPP. 3 guys walked across the grass from another house, and one guy asked me if I wanted a drink. That is not a good idea when the police are on their way. We had about a 20-30 minute wait while we had small talk, and I found out that an oil truck had lost its load on that hill, so I didn't have a chance in heck, especially with all the water. The OPP showed up, and he took my statement, and he said, well, wait here. So we walked up the road and walked back about 20 minutes later, and he said my story checked out. He could tell from my skid marks every time I cranked the steering wheel, all my tracks all the way up the hill, my story checked out. So he told me if the truck's fine to go, you can leave. So I hopped in the truck and I went down and I delivered my thing down at the Windermere Resort. The owner was out putting some garbage out. And he looked at me and he smiled and he said, are you having a good day yet? And then his wife ran out and she put me in this bear hug. And she started saying, do you want a beer? Do you want a coffee? Do you want a soft drink? Do you want to lie down for a while? And I looked at him and I put my hands up like this, like, you're married? And then he broke out laughing and he told her to let go of me quick because I was turning blue and he thought I was going to pass out. So I finally did my business and I drove back to Aurelia that afternoon. And Monday morning, the plant manager walked by me and he said, don't tell me you weren't speeding. So I will tell you what I told him. I said, if I was speeding, I wouldn't be here today. So if you've learned anything from this, learn one thing. Slow down. Don't rush into things. You never know, it might save your life.
Mr. Khan, can you give us the minutes?